because of national interest, so to speak, there has been a report that says that the airline would need at least $300 million of funding. Of course, but you said that that Khazanah is also waiting for a recovery plan from Malaysia Airlines. But is there a timeline for this?
Yeah, I think it's no secret really that globally, all airlines are under tremendous pressure. It's the nature of the industry basically that it carries very high fixed costs because of the leases and the ownership costs of those planes. And when you suddenly have a severe drop in revenue through no flights and no sales, and Malaysia Airlines, for instance, just like all airlines, right, at the peak of the crisis was essentially only flying less than 5% of its capacity, right? Then of course you're going to have tremendous pressure on your cash flow and your balance sheet. So there is going to have to be some rethinking, I think, about the long-term business strategy of Malaysia Airlines. The management and the board there are working very hard at it. Khazanah as shareholders have always been very supportive of Malaysia Airlines. And what we're doing today basically is to keep working with them to essentially see through this period of uncertainty. The big challenge, of course, is that nobody really knows when exactly recovery will start. So we're fortunate in the sense that Malaysia has a domestic aviation industry, which allows us to do a bit of flying internally. But without international borders fully opening, you're going to still see essentially a lengthy period, I think, of very, very difficult performance for all global airlines.
Would Khazanah basically advise Malaysia Airlines to place more emphasis on JV partners or perhaps digital transformation to sort of realign their business plan?
So if you look at what the management has been doing, I think they have actually been looking at that path already. So the global aviation industry has, over the last couple of decades, started to look more at partnerships. And that's why you have global alliances like One World and Star Alliance and all the rest. And actually going much deeper now. So Malaysia Airlines has just announced basically a joint venture with Japan Airlines, basically for a joint venture between Malaysia and Japan, where both airlines essentially share capacity and share revenue. Right? And I think basically the future of the industry will be forced to go down this path because I think ultimately you're going to have to share capacity and share costs while still doing some competition on revenue. But with demand and with revenue really being so badly hit at this point in time, I think it's actually in the best interest of all airlines to think about how they are going to actually work together to see through this crisis together.
Okay. When we had the finance minister, Datuk on the program, he mentioned that he was not really in favor of a merger between Malaysia Airlines and AirAsia, but you have gone on record as well to say that never say never. So would this be something that could be possible in the future?
Yeah, the reason why I said that essentially is because, I think in life, I've seen in business and in markets, right, all kinds of potential deals that can happen, right? But for these things to happen, a lot of things have to align. And certainly I think, it's not going to be easy because of cultural differences, of basically, sectoral differences between a low-cost airline and a full-service carrier. And you rarely see basically a very successful combination of those two. I think what's really clear is that Malaysia requires both a low-cost operator as well as basically a higher value operator like Malaysia Airlines to coexist because you do need to address multiple segments of the market. Right? So I think actually for the long-term strategic interest of Malaysia, it's actually quite important basically that we provide enough choice not only for Malaysians to fly, but also for international travelers who want to come to Malaysia to suit all budgets because we don't want to be missing out in terms of, as a country in terms of any market segments.